Welcome to our Veterans Day celebration here at Stockton University. My name is Ashley Jones, and I'm a dependent, and I am officially the Assistant Director of the Military and Veterans Success Center. I'm honored to be with you today as we recognize our service members and remember the many sacrifices they made. This week, we'll be educating our community on what it means to serve through a program like our EVAC project, Experiencing Veterans and Artist Collaboration, along with today's event. Each one of these programs was done to help our community better understand those who wear the uniform. Now we would like to do the National Anthem. So if everyone could please rise. Thank you all so much. Please be seated. At this time, we would like to recognize all of those among us who are served for the armed forces, to our active duty military personnel, reservists, members of the National Guard, and all veterans. It is your service and sacrifice that has kept our nation safe. If you are able, please stand and be recognized. Come on. Regardless of which branch you served in, whether it was in combat or in peacetime, no matter what your job was, how many years you served, you deserve the recognition and thanks of our grateful nation. We truly never thank you enough for all the service you have done. Although I am not a veteran myself, I can speak to the experiences that I've personally and professionally experienced. When sacrifice and the military population are mentioned, there are a few areas that come to mind immediately. You think of losses in life, you think losses in time. In my current stance, my father served for 20 plus years, so I have been an Air Force brat for the majority of my life. He has missed many different events, birthdays, graduations that you can never really make up. The loss of time and experience with family members is great, and it's not necessarily one of the things that's mentioned or recollected. For the students at Stockton, giving their time, their sacrifice with just being deployed and the things that they've seen, it has very many implications, as well as reestablishing those connections when they return. Families could be distanced from their service members, and they might not be able to tell or be able to share those experiences just because of the lack thereof. So reacclimating and getting themselves back in order is a very difficult experience. So I wanted to bring someone who's actually felt those things. So our next speaker is Schutt. He's served in active duty with the infantry for several years and is a current student in historical studies. So Carl, if you could come up.
First, I want to thank Dr. Barney and Ashley for inviting me to come and speak to you guys today. So, sort of touching on what Ashley talked about, the sacrifice of time is the big importance of this holiday. Everyone kind of confuses Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Memorial Day is for memorializing those lost. Today is for those who served in general. So the sacrifice of time, it's hard to understand unless you've experienced it. So I'm also a dependent like Ashley. My father served 23 years in the Army. And growing up as a kid, you know, I've got few and far memories of him because he was constantly gone. He was doing that sacrifice in time, and he may not have been clearing cities or clearing houses in Fallujah or in the hardest of combat, but he was still gone. He was still deployed, and I still didn't have all those childhood memories you'd like to have. And then the sacrifice is something else that I would encounter in my own service. You know, I missed my grandmother's funeral. My battalion had a gunnery coming up. We needed everybody. Nobody's going home. When I went to Korea, I missed the birth of my niece. You know, I missed a lot of important things. And it doesn't matter, again, whether you're in the mountains of the Korengal in heavy combat or you're in a ship at sea floating around. The sacrifice of time is, to me, sort of the essence of this holiday. It's the importance of Veterans Day. And so being a history major and being a veteran, the military is very proud of its traditions. We adhere to them, we hold on to them. And so I figured I'd talk a little bit about the tradition of Veterans Day and sort of give everyone an idea where it came from. So in 1918, to that point, the most destructive war in the world ended, the First World War, the war to end all wars. And the US government had never taken combat losses like that before. Over 4.7 million Americans served, with 2 million of them serving in combat and around 100,000 men dying in combat or through other various issues. So in 1921, the government decided to honor both those who were lost, but also those who served in general during this titanic struggle. So in honor of Armistice Day, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, Veterans Day was established to pay tribute and memorialize those who have served, those who have given up, even without having gone into more arduous circumstances. So yeah. Dr. Barney?
Thank you so much, Carl. We definitely need to revisit the history of the holiday. It might get lost in translation with a lot of different holidays. I know we talked before, Memorial Day and Veterans Day kind of get misconstrued, but their messages are completely different. I would like to introduce our keynote speaker. We obviously, everyone knowing with the transition of the office. I'd like to introduce Dr. Michael Barony, the new director of Military and Veteran Success Center. He served in the U.S. Army for 4.5 years as a cavalry scout and did 2 combat deployments to Iraq. As a Cav Scout, he conducted intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance operations and served as the eyes and ears of the battlefield commander. Additionally, Dr. Barony served as a quick reaction force, assisting friendly forces in need. So Dr. Barony, would you come up?
Thank you, Ashley and Carl, for your speeches and talking to us about Veterans Day. Again, my name is Dr. Michael Barony, and I am your new director for the Military and Veteran Success Center, and I'm very proud to be here with you all today here at Stockton University. So before I talk about Veterans Day, I wanted to just introduce myself to you since it's the first time I'm seeing many of you. I served in the Army from 2006 to 2011. My first deployment was from May of 2007 to September, or actually end of August of 2008, and then my second deployment was October of 2009 to October of 2010. Even though I was only in for 4.5 years, just like 3 days shy of 4.5 years, I spent over 27.5 months deployed in total. So over half my military career was spent in a combat zone. So what's unique about, even though Carl and I are in the same generation of veteran, is our perspectives. And, you know, I knock on wood, I thank God every day that we're not deploying as much anymore as we're winding down Iraq and we withdrew from Afghanistan. Our experiences are very different. But just because our experience is different doesn't mean we don't have dissimilar experiences. As Carl talked about time is something you can't get back. There's many times that on active duty, you have to sacrifice your time with your family. The saying on active duty is military first, then family, then your religion. There's many times I had to cancel leave, as Carl stated, as Ashley stated with her father serving. One time I just got on an airplane in Savannah Airport, and I got recalled, and I had to get off real quick. Couldn't get that money back. I was really bummed, but that is part of my veteran experience. And moving forward, how do we acknowledge Veterans Day? And one thing I wanted to talk about acknowledging Veterans Day is what we do here at Stockton is process their veteran benefits with the GI Bill. There's been many iterations of the GI Bill, which started in June 1944 as an experiment to see if veterans returning from World War II and World War I would actually go to college. Deemed by many in the Senate and Congress is deemed to fail. Within the first year, it succeeded way past anyone's beliefs, to the point where it kept getting renewed. And the GI Bill has evolved over time to be considered one of the second most important social programs ever created by the U.S. government, only behind the Social Security Act. Little fun facts about the GI Bill. The GI Bill is credited to help creating the middle class, as now you had returning men and women that have benefits were able to settle down, and they, due to getting money from housing allowance and money to pay for schooling, they were able to settle down, create a family, and not only create the middle class, but the GI Bill is acknowledged to help creating the suburbs, as you had influx of millions of students in the late 1940s, early 1950s that needed somewhere to stay, and suburbs were created to help house those veteran students. Also, during Veterans Day, two groups of people I always like to acknowledge, since they tend not to get acknowledged as much as they deserve to get acknowledged, is our female veterans. Many people don't realize women do serve. At my prior institution and other speeches I've given, a lot of times it's thought of women just maybe serving in the hospital or secretarial work. It's not the case, especially in the Army in 2014, open up all combat jobs to women. So now women can serve in a combat MOS. Any job a man can do, a woman can do. And I cannot think of better equality than serving in the military. Whatever a man can do, a woman can do. However, we tend to fail to acknowledge our female veterans. One little story I'd like to provide is one of my friends, she's now a major, but Veterans Day 2018, we went out to Applebee's for our free lunch. I know I'm not in the lean, mean fighting machine shape as I was, but when it comes time to pay, they didn't ask me for my ID card to show veteran proof, but with her, they made her provide her military ID card because they didn't believe that she was a veteran. And this is echoed. My prior job and talking to female veterans here, it's very common that women that served have to jump through the extra hoop to show their proof. So one thing I would like to bestow onto you guys is let's acknowledge our female veterans. They deserve a lot more recognition than they get, and we tend to drop the ball on that. So I would like to acknowledge our female veterans, those in the audience, those listening, and those here serving active duty, reserve, National Guard, that are students, that we are here for you. And the other group is, like Ashley talked about, is our dependents. Yes, this is Veterans Day, but dependents serve just as much as the active duty member or the reservist, the guardsmen and women, because it's, again, loss of time. My girlfriend, then fiance, then wife, was with me throughout my entire military career. And just as I got married, I had to go back to Fort Stewart, where I was stationed. I've got no honeymoon. She was still in college up at Rampo University. Graduated, May of 2009. As soon as she came back to Fort Stewart, I picked her up at the airport, dropped her off, then I shipped off to California for a month and a half, 2 months for training. Came back, and then I deployed for a year and just shy of a month. That was our whole first year and a half of marriage. was not being together physically for more than a month, month and a half. That is my experience, but I know my friends and colleagues that have families while deployed. It's heartbreaking. Seeing your child's first steps via video. I mean, it's hard enough if you're home and that happens to you, right? But if it happens to you while you're deployed, you feel like you're not doing enough to be there for your family. And I just want to, again, extend a thank you to our dependents. Because yes, even though today's Thursday's Veterans Day, and we're going to be honoring veterans on Veterans Day, let's also acknowledge our dependents, because they deserve acknowledgement with dealing with us, our deployments, and all the other stuff that comes in between. But I'd like to say thank you to Stockton University for its dedication to our veteran population by allowing Ashley and I to serve our military-affiliated students. And to that note, I was kind of curious as I took over this job, how many veterans, this is the 50th anniversary of Stockton, right? How many veterans or military-affiliated students have Stockton served? And to our best research, we found just over 7,300 military-affiliated students served by Stockton since its creation. I think that's fantastic and shows its dedication to the military-affiliated population, which I think is one of the best populations on campus. Of course, I'm the director, I'll always say that. But last thing I always have to say is, what I love about veterans is no matter what gender you are, sexual orientation you are, race you are, we're vets. We all stand together, we all serve together, no matter what you believe in, who you like, dislike. When it comes time to do your job, that all goes aside, because it's mission first. That's what I love about our military-affiliated community, because, of course, like any other community, there's differences. However, no matter what the differences are, we have each other's back. And that extends to not only the military world, but post-military world. I can't tell you how many times I've heard veterans helping each other outside of the military. One thing I do to help our veterans is I am a veteran mentor for the Middlesex County Prosecutors Veteran Diversion Program, in which I help mentor veterans that get arrested on certain classes of misdemeanors, so they, instead of going to jail, they can stay out of jail, and as long as they complete this program, their charges get wiped. And I'm very fortunate enough, I had a support structure when I got home. I had a very tough wife that helped me. If I needed counseling, she's like, hey, Mike, let's go together. I'm very fortunate enough, not everyone is. And I was asked, what can you do to give back? Not even just to give back to a vet, but I like to think of Veterans Day as kind of Community Service Day too. How can we help each other moving forward? And what I always like to end off when I give a speech about Veterans Day is what John F. Kennedy said, is not ask what you can do, what your country can do for you, is what you can do for your country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Barony. I'm very excited to see what the program will look like in the future based upon all of the good work we have already done. This concludes our Veterans Day celebration. I would like to take a moment to thank our student veterans, veteran faculty, staff members, and our campus partners who are here today helping us with this event, as well as our day-to-day work. What we do will not be done without all of the additional partners that we have. We're a two-person operation, was one for quite some time, so without the campus at large and our students helping us, we wouldn't be as far as we are today. And thank you all for coming, and I wish you guys have a great Veterans Week.